Hey, I'm Russ from Pilates Guy, and I've created this video based on the fact that through lockdown I haven't been able to get to my Pilates sessions with my instructor. And the whole reason I'm in the Pilates game anyway is because of all the back problems I had that stopped me doing what I wanted to do, like squats, lifting weights, playing rugby, and those sorts of things. So, having gone back to the gym now for the last 4 weeks, and doing squats 3 times a week at the moment is a bit punishing. So my back is struggling a little bit, as I still can't get a workable time to get to a Pilates session. So I really need to get back into that. Yes, I could take myself through a session, I know, but it's not quite the same. So I've created just a little warm up, which basically takes your spine through all 3 planes of movement that are really important to take your spine through to get my back warmed up, ready to do squats. So I started doing this myself and thought I'd share it because I thought it'd be useful. Very, very good way to get your spine moving before any high intensity activity like doing, gym work, lifting weights, high intensity stuff, running distance, even going for long walks. Get your spine moving. Most people do neglect the back and don't warm it up properly. This would be in addition to any normal warm up that you would do. But it just gets the spines through those 3 planes, which I talk about in a lot of my sessions. There's 3 really important movements for the spine, which are lateral flexion extension, which is our side bending movement. Then we've got obviously rotation of the spine, really fixing that rotation for the spine. And other than that, it's front, so sagittal flexion extension, so basically forwards and backwards. So you take your spine through all of those 3 planes of movement, and you'll get your spine moving and prepared for high intensity activity, impact sports, that sort of thing. So I'll take you through that now. I think it's just 6 exercises that we'll do. You just go as far with these exercises as you want to. So work on a range of motion that's good for you. Keep complete control throughout. And having some Pilates knowledge is good because you want your core engaged throughout. That's your belly button to spine, pelvic muscles engaged as well. And we want to keep good alignment through the body. So that's really important. If you're not sure, you can watch one of my previous videos on the principles or the Pilates setup to understand good alignment and the core engagement. So enough talking, let's get moving. So we start off in our good setup, feet hip distance, we're nice and tall, and we're just going to start off with a simple pelvic tilt, not one you might want to do in public. I don't care anymore, but we put the hands either side of the hips, or you can put them front and back, doesn't matter too much. And we're just going to start a pelvic tilt here, tucking the tailbone under and sticking the tailbone out. Now some people think this looks like thrusting, which would be more like this, moving the hips backwards and forwards. We don't want to move the hips. They stay nice and still. The legs, and the upper body stay nice and still. This is just the pelvis. Tucking that tailbone under, sticking that tailbone out. If you put your hand in your lower back, you're going to feel your lower back arching and then flattening, or even starting to round a little, pushing out and then opening up. So we're stretching through that lumbar spine, mobilising the lumbar, mobilising the hips. If anybody suffers with back problems, this is one you're going to be really used to. So I normally do around 20 pelvic tilts, nice and big, easing into any tension. For me, this also releases my SI joint, so I normally get a pop or a crack and find that is loosening up my SI joint, loosening up my lower back. Very good if you've been sat down for a long time. Really important movement before high intensity activity, especially if you're about to get nailed on a rugby pitch. Keep the rest of the body still. Do bend the knees a little bit if you want to, so you can bend those knees a touch, and that will give you a bigger movement and help you isolate. Once you've done about 20 each way, we settle that down into a neutral spine. So bit by bit, you make that smaller until you come to a natural stop somewhere between those two. You should be in a neutral pelvis, should be in a neutral spine. From here, just take a nice big shoulder roll, breathe in and breathe out as you just relax shoulder blades towards the back pockets. So we need to get some lateral flexion extension through the spine. So we start off with a side bend. You might want to take your feet ever so slightly wider than hip distance here, because we need to keep the hips still. Core must be engaged. You pull that belly button through, engage the pelvic muscles. We come into a side bend, running the finger towards the knee, and we pull ourselves back up to the middle. And then we're going the other way. Always take in that stop in the middle before you go the other way. And you're probably going to feel your QL stretching and mobilising either side of the spine. Quadratus lumborum or multifidus can be tight, so you may feel those warming up. That's where my problem is at the moment. So I'm certainly feeling the benefit of this at the moment. Keep your core strong. Don't let those muscles relax. Breathe out as you come over, in as you come back up. Really important movement for the spine. Keep it the same distance on both sides, running the finger down the center of the leg. So it's like you're between 2 walls or 2 panes of glass. You can't lean forwards, you can't lean back, you can't twist. We're not going to go up the strengthening levels today because there's lots of options we can do here, but this is really just to mobilise. We want to keep those hips still. So notice my hips aren't pushing out from side to side, not yet anyway. We're keeping them as still as you can, bending over to one side, breathing out, breathing in back to the middle, a little tiny pause, and we go the other way. Now, once we're warmed up a little, we can make this movement a bit bigger. You can take the feet wider. We can start to push the hip deliberately out to one side now, getting a bit more of a stretch through the body, but only once you're warmed up, especially if you, like me, have got quite a sore back at the moment. Breathing out as we come over. So nothing's changed. You're still between your two walls. No leaning forwards, no back, no rotation. So to begin with, those hips are absolutely still. You don't move them. You want all the movement to come from the spine. Then we start to open up. Keep the core strong. Breathe out as you come over, in as you come back up. And I would do probably 15 each side here. 15 to 20 each side, just to get a good level of movement through that back, through that spine, getting that mobility coming down the hips, stretching down the side of the body. Really, really good movement. Just stretch into those hips as well, you'll feel. And once we've done 15 to 20 each way, we just stop in our good alignment back at the center. And we're going to work through just a few squats. Now, the squats with Pilates, we tend to just take our bum in line with knees, not going too low. And that's good because it's just getting the spine ready for that movement. And we do teach the hip hinge to get the body moving the right way. And we join those movements together. But when you really start to warm up for those good, deep, weighted squats, then you do want to take these a little bit lower. But to begin with, we're going to start off with just a couple of hip hinges. Push your bum backwards, letting those fingertips come in line with the knees and come back up tall. Do let that head tip over with the rest of the body. So we're just hinging and coming back up. We're hinging, pause for a second, come back up. Make sure you're keeping your core strong. We want this nice line from the crown of the head to the tailbone before we come back up. You're already going to feel you're starting to move. So we've got that flexion, extension at the hips, but keeping that good posture. Breathing out and breathing in. Preparing your body for various movements, for impact. Keep your core strong. Keep your legs straight. Don't bend your knees too much unless you have very tight hamstrings. If you've got very tight hamstrings, a little bend's okay, but don't bend them a lot. So we just hinge. Knees stay soft though. Don't lock out the knee. Now we're going to bring the squat into this. So we're going to hinge and squat at the same time. So you hinge and take your bum down and back, and then you're going to push through those heels to come back up. You breathe out as you come into your squat. You breathe in as you push through the heels to come back up. Breathing out. Head tips over, remember, so that neck, that chin stays slightly tucked. The neck stays long. Arms just hover. We're not reaching those forward. So what we don't want to do is reach forwards with those arms. They just hover up, and we keep that nice line through the spine. We push through the heels to come back up. Make sure the knees follow toes. It's good to have a little turnout with the feet, especially if you've got knee problems. And you want to do about 20. Really nice and controlled. So you probably do about 8 to 10 hip hinges, followed by 15 to 20 squats. Now, I will always take a deep squat after doing these. So do your 8 to 10 hip hinges, and then do your 15 to 20 squats. I like to take my feet then wider, and I like to come into a really nice deep squat, getting quite low, and I like to just bring a very gentle bit of movement into these squats. A little bit of rotation is good. But just go with this if you're comfortable. You might not want to. And we want to make sure that we can get that chest high as well. So we're not down here. We want that shoulders back and down, neck long. We want to make sure we can get that chest high and just move around in these deep squats a little bit. I just tend to do that a couple of times through just to improve that mobility at the hips. Just do that if you feel good. Don't worry about having to do that. So the last Pilates-based movement we'll do standing is a roll down. So our roll downs, we start off really nice and tall in our good posture. I'm topping the top of my head off. It's brilliant. So we want to stand tall in the good posture as we set up at the beginning. Now this is where we get that flexion of the spine, extension of the spine. So we stand tall, core strong. We take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe out, you just relax your chin to your chest. Let your head hang like dead weight. Then you're going to let those shoulder blades slide forward and let your arms hang. You can keep the fingertips on legs if you want, or just let those arms hang.
So this is a total opposite to squats now. I want your weight in the front of your feet, not your heels. Core's got to be strong. And I want you to try and keep your tailbone slightly tucked under as we start to work our way down towards the floor. Arms hanging, head hanging, dead weight hanging over the front of the feet. So the weight isn't in the heels. We're not pushing our bums back anymore. And we ease down slowly to our maximum stretch. At the bottom, we'll take a nice deep breath in. We breathe out, and we just ease into that stretch a little bit more, keeping the weight in the front of the feet. Nice deep breath in again. We're going to breathe out, and we push through the front of the feet, rebuilding that spine. Head hanging, arms hanging, restack, rebuild, uncurl the spine. When your hands get to your knees, we want a little tailbone tuck, and then we restack that spine, one vertebrae at a time, coming up. When we're at the top of the back there, the shoulders roll back, the head comes up with a nice deep breath in. And we breathe out, we're peeling over again. Chin comes to chest, shoulder blades slide forward, we're peeling over towards the floor. We're doing 5 of these. Easing slowly down. Keep the tailbone tucked under for as long as you can on the way down. Ease into your maximum stretch. Nice deep breath in. We breathe out to stretch. Breathe in. We breathe out and we rebuild. Push through the front of the feet, always pulling your belly button to spine, pelvic floor lifted. Hands get to knees, we tuck the tailbone slightly, and then we're rebuilding that spine. Arms and head hang all the way until we get to that upper back and the shoulders roll back. Head comes up, nice deep breath in. We've got 3 more. Breathing out. Peeling over, chin to chest, dead weight with the head. Arms slide forward, shoulders slide forward, dead weight with the arms. Peel forwards, down towards those feet. Keep the tailbone tucked, legs straight with a soft knee. Keep your core strong. Ease in, down to your maximum stretch. At some point, you can't tuck your tailbone anymore. Ease into that max stretch. Nice deep breath in. Breathe out to stretch. Breathe in through the nose. Breathe out. Push through the front of the feet, and we're rebuilding that spine. And we literally think about restacking that spine, one vertebrae on top of the next, as we start to build up. Really think about that rebuild. Nice deep breath in the top. 1 more. Breathing out as we peel over, chin to chest, shoulders slide forward. Let that weight pull you down. This feels great already. Really good to do this late in the day as well, or before bed, just stretching out that spine. So don't forget, tailbone stays tucked for as long as you can. Core stays strong, legs straight, knees soft. Arms and head hang. When we push back up, we push through the front of the feet, rebuilding that spine, restacking, bringing yourselves back up. Push through the front of the feet, hands to knees, tuck the tailbone, restack that spine onto your neutral pelvis. Really think about rebuilding one bit at a time. Shoulders roll back, head comes up, nice deep breath in. Last one, we're not coming back up from this one. Breathe out. Chin to chest, we roll down. Arms forward, head hangs, peel over. Really think about peeling each bit of the spine over as you start to work down towards that mat. Ease into your maximum stretch. We bend the knees, take the hands down, and we come onto our fronts. You can take the hips to the floor if you like, and then we push up into a cobra. Just keep those legs and those bums relaxed. So you're pushing into that cobra. Keep your chin slightly tucked with a long neck. Shoulders are back and down. We hold, and then we come back to child's pose. So we're going to do this 6 times. You can either come to a 4-point kneeling position, push yourself through the cobra without letting your hips touch the floor, shoulders stay back and down, chin slightly tucked, relaxing your bum, relaxing your legs. Hold that for a few breaths, 2 breaths, and then push into child's pose, pushing your bum back, reach those arms forward, lengthen the spine, and then repeat. So you don't have to push through, you can just bring yourself onto the floor and then push yourself up, legs relaxed, shoulders back and down, chin slightly tucked. You'll feel the abdominal stretch as well as that back. Try and think legs relaxed, but tailbone ever so slightly tucked. And we come back to child's pose. So we work through this 5 times. Once you've done your 5 there, we will do our last exercise for the back, mobilising that spine, getting the rotation through the spine. So we start off, feet and knees together, lying on our backs in a neutral spine. Again, you will need to watch a video to understand neutral if you don't already. Core's engaged, pull belly button down towards the spine. The knees tip one way as the head goes the opposite way. Breathe out, empty your lungs as the knees tip.
When you run out of air, breathe in back to the middle. And then breathe out as you go the other way, head going the opposite way. Breathe out. Empty your lungs, breathe in back to the middle. You can keep doing this. We're going to do 6 each way. If you want to make it a little more difficult, you take the legs to tabletop. So vertical thighs, shins parallel to floor with the legs together, arms out of the way. You do the same thing. The legs tip over to one side, head goes opposite way as you breathe out. When those lungs are empty, you need to breathe in back to the middle, and breathe out as you go the other way. So this is your harder option. This is mobilising, rotating that spine. Make sure your head and arm go the opposite way, getting that twist through the body. And we'll do 6 each side. You choose 6 to 8 each side. You choose which level you go for. Always keep the core strong and keep everything controlled. 6 to 8 each way. And once you've done those, just bring yourselves up and you should be hopefully feeling good to go. That's really helped me get on with training despite my back being pretty sore. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch with me. Hope you found the video useful, and thanks for watching.